What's your top wow, that actually worked moment? Friend's dad a couple years ago has an old Windows 2000 computer with a dead hard drive. Normally this wouldn't be an issue as it's an old ass machine, just get a new one. But unfortunately this hard drive had the only backup copy of some very important family pictures. Since the external HDD they kept important file backups on died a few weeks prior. Went through every troubleshooting step I could think of in order to recover the data and nothing. As far as I could tell, drive was completely shot. So in one last desperate attempt I blew on the connectors and the ports, like I was trying to get my NES cartridge to work, flicked the drive with my finger, and gave it a small dramatic speech about needing to stay alive for the family. This thing booted, stayed on long enough for me to grab the files, and then went dead. I half ran a stop sign that got ran a lot. Cop pulled me over. By half ran, I mean, I was doing a California slow roll through, and halfway through I saw the cop and stopped. He walks up, asked me if I knew I ran the stop sign. I said yes. Then, I don't know why, but I asked, may I have your mercy? He takes a step back, looked a little perplexed, runs my license, comes back, and just says, today, I'm merciful. Stop running stop signs. Let off with a warning. Got a free watch offer from a decent company I bought from before, but you had to spend over $300. I added 4 of the free watches, which were usually $75, into the cart, which registered as $300. I went to checkout and a green -$300 appears in the bill. Added my shipping address and 2 weeks later they came. After hours of trying to repair a broken digital camera, I went to throw it away. I shrugged and dropped it on the linoleum. Heard a horrible crack. The motor turned on, making a jackhammer sound before it clicked, and became a smooth hum. The camera worked after that. The first time my wife and I went out to eat with our new baby, he was sitting in a baby seat next to the table, and he started crying. I picked up a salt shaker and set it right in front of him, and said, watch this. And he looked at the salt and stopped crying. The entire grade went on a field trip to a bowling/arcade place to celebrate completing middle school. I was at a claw machine, not sure exactly what it's called. I'm talking about the machine where you direct a claw and try to grab a toy with it, and I asked my friend to look at the claw from the side to see if it was lined up with the toy I wanted. Just then, a boy from another class walked up and said to me, you know that those are a scam, right? I was flustered and hit the button to lower the claw without even waiting for my friend to tell me if it was lined up properly. The claw came back up with 2 toys and dropped them in the collection box. The boy was silent for a moment before saying, that was actually pretty good, and walking away. I'll never be so cool again in my entire life. I was a network engineer for an ISP at the time, and I had to get to a mountaintop where one of our towers were located to perform some maintenance. Had to ride a snowmobile all the way up there, and when I got there I realized I forgot the keys to the enclosure. Not to be defeated, I tried to pick the lock, and I got it to open after about 20 minutes of trying. Yay, I didn't have to quit for the day and got the work done. I was 12 and didn't know how to swim. I wound up in the deep end of a pool with dozens of other people who didn't realize I disappeared underwater. I struggled for a second, then remembered something my childhood friend told me. All you have to do to float is bend over in water. I never had the guts to try when she told me, but I was about to die. So, I just let my body relax and bent over in the water by my waist and floated to the surface, alive. I couldn't believe it was as simple as she said. Edit. Yes, after all this time floating, I can swim now. Thanks for the silver. I'm just glad I didn't latch onto someone else in the pool and drown them while trying to climb up to the surface. I hear that happens a lot. I was flying somewhere. After everyone else was boarded, I went up to the gate agent and asked about being upgraded to first class. After a bunch of typing on her computer, she said sure and asked how I would like to pay for it. I said, by asking nicely. To my amazement, she gave me a boarding pass for my new first class seat. I repair slot machines for a living. One was frozen in game state with well over $1,000 on it. All the doors were closed, no jams in the dollar acceptor or the voucher printer, all the lights were on and the software just stopped mid-spin. I was thinking the game finally died, and we'd need to reimburse the guest for their lost money, which can take a while, if it's a ton of money like this. The guest jokingly asked if it just needed its butt-kick to work again, and I figured that, since this game is old and durable, I'll indulge him. I kicked it, and the game came right back up, and the guest proceeded to win another $500 or so from that spin. Game was good for the rest of the day too, no errors or anything. I played it off as gracefully as I could, but I think that was my life's peak and I'll never look that cool to anybody ever again. My sister and I went to a show a while after she'd been going through some really rough times. I wrote the band a letter about her and asked one of their merch guys if he could deliver it to them, hoping they could just give her a shout out during the set or something. About 20 minutes later I got a phone call from the band's manager saying to go to the side of the stage between the opener and the headliner, and we got to watch the whole show from the side of the stage and they gave us a VIP meet and greet pass. The bassist came up and we learned that he was the one who pushed for us to get what we got. He was so nice about everything, and he gave my sister a hug and posed for a photo with her. Told this girl in 2nd grade I was a psychic just to troll, and she didn't believe me, of course, so she asked me to predict something. I said, "You're going to scream right now," and as she was saying, "That's dumb. Why would I?" A kindergartner playing tag randomly fell and rolled back into her legs and she screamed. She was really scared of me after that, lol. Fans on my old MacBook had stopped working. Searched on YouTube for a fix and found a video that said sometimes there can be lint/dust/etc clogging up the spinny mechanisms. A good thumping can get them back in order. The guy in the video proceeded to hammer the computer with his fists and the fans came back on. I shrugged, gave it a shot, and to my surprise, they hummed back to life, and I was back in business. Still can't believe it. Went to check into a hotel, and I asked him if there was a parking fee. He replied with yes, it's $15 a night. I asked, any chance you could waive it? He replied with, yeah sure. I was like, okay, thanks lol. Saved me $60. The brakes on my crappy SUV went completely out one day, so instead of paying for a tow truck my dad decided to connect my car to his pickup truck with a big chain, my car in front, dad in back, and have me drive to the mechanic shop. My car could still accelerate just fine, just no brakes whatsoever, so we called each other on our cell phones, and every time I needed to slow down or stop I'd just tell him, and he'd hit the brakes on the pickup which would either slow my car or yank it stopped if he did it too abruptly. It was completely stupid, illegal, and definitely dangerous, but we got there just fine and didn't have to drop $100 on a tow truck, so it worked. I was on a first date. Normally, I never go beyond making out on a first date, but that day I was feeling bold, so I decided to ask her if she wanted to come over and meet my roommate's dog. Yep, that worked. I tried that line on a few more girls and it also worked. Went to a dirt track race in the middle of Illinois. My friend went to buy his own tickets. I walked up the front gate and pulled out a Missouri Conservation Heritage card I bought for $2 to renew my turkey hunting tags. I walked up the front gate, drunk mind you, and said in a friendly but stern and confident voice, "Sir, this is my Missouri Conservation Heritage card." Gestured to the gate and followed up with, "I think this should be fine enough." He goes, "Missouri can't, so what?" Even more stern, "Missouri Department of Conservation Heritage card, sir, it says right here." He just goes, "Oh right. Department Missouri, yes right away, go on through." I said thanks and walked in. I think the confidence I showed, as if my card meant anything, let alone in another state, was enough for him to go, "Who cares, I'll just let him in." I saved like $7, but it was a fun story when my buddy asked how I got in before him. My friend and I were in community college, and Halo 3 just came out. We had papers due for our English class the next morning, which did not get done. When the teacher asked us why they weren't done, I just told her we were up all night playing Xbox in front of the whole class. She laughed, appreciated the honesty, and let us turn it in late, since we didn't lie.